it comes from a lack of love, a lack of really understanding. And it's also part of our own feeling of like, well, how else are we going to get that need fulfilled? There's like this desperate need, and we think the only way we can do that is by sexual expression, but it just feeds that addiction, because you have a sexual experience, it feels great, but if you're not getting the love in that sexual experience, which you can't be if you're raping someone, or then you're just feeding that same desperate need. That need for love that's underneath that is not being met. And so I think the solution is for us to talk about that and to support men to look at what do we need to get our need for love met, especially with men, in a way that we can be tender with each other, that we can be caring of one another and not be called a sissy or a pussy or all those other things that boys get called when they're growing up if they express that past a certain age. And I've definitely, I've been a part of that, of sexualizing women, of whistling. I don't know how in detail I should go. I haven't raped anybody. I haven't, but I have been very aggressive about wanting sex and pushing it, with my wife and with other women I've been with in the past. And like, they better put out or I'm going to be disappointed and, angry and all those things. So that is a form of domination.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. James?
Yeah, I'd like to follow on from that. I think when I think about sexuality and the sexual desire and so on, I'm trying to overcome a gap of feeling separate. And this separate feeling has been with me. I've been conditioned all my life to be competitive and to be isolated and alone and competing against other people to feel safe and secure and to get my needs met, et cetera, by making money and so on. And sex becomes a substitute for the fact that I don't feel the love and the connection with other people so much. Because in competing, everybody's a competitor out there. And so I feel separate from them. And so the sexual drive is a drive to overcome that feeling of separateness and disconnection. And so to me, the solution is something along the lines of what I've been experiencing in the last almost 7 years with my mate, which is the profound, ever deepening, profound, loving connectedness, so that the other dissipates, because that was just brand X, that was a substitute for love.
I was molested a couple times when I was very young, about between 5 and 7, and then again when I was a teenager by males. And so that confused me terribly, because what I wanted, what I thought I was going to get from these men was a connection and love, and that didn't happen. I was used, and I think that I carried some of that with me and have acted that out with women over time. And I've struggled with pornography most of my life. I've used it as an escape from the inner turmoil or inner emptiness or inner pain that I felt as a person, as a man.
Yeah.
That I was fearful of talking about with others, or thought I was the only one that felt this way, or whatever.
Thank you very much for sharing that, Richard. That felt really impactful. And, the first thing is we have to stop abandoning the abusers.
Right.
Because we are abusers too. I don't know anybody who has never abused anybody, and
whether it's emotional abuse or whatever.
Exactly. We all have to struggle with that. And to take someone whose needs are obviously not met, or they wouldn't be behaving this way, and saying, okay, now I'm going to punish you, does nothing. So we really need to speak to this. We need to speak to other men about it, about don't abandon these men or point fingers or secretly wink like we know, hey, too bad you got caught. All of these ways of dealing with it, and that women need to understand that too. The reason that I mentioned that I had been molested and sexually abused and raped violently was so that you would realize that I wasn't just, in a cavalier way saying, oh, well, it's not so bad. I mean, it's not at all that it's not bad. It's terrible. But that I also realize that if we're ever going to fix any of the ills of the world, we have to start looking at what is it that people are needing that they're not getting that's causing them to behave this way.